Hello everyone, it's Kathy and welcome back to my YouTube channel and back here in my craft room. Today we're going to be looking at the Vase pop-up card. Now I had seen these done, like forever I had seen them, but I remember attempting this, and this was early on in my crafting journey, and I wasn't quite ready for it. But I'm hoping that after working with this, conquering it, I have discovered an easy way to bring this card to you and make it very easy where you can create it as well. And when you open it up, this is what makes the card so special. When you open it up, you have this beautiful vase of flowers, and see how that pops out? And it is just a lovely card for anyone. Now the one we're going to do today, the flowers are going to be smaller than this. This was my prototype, so I just punched these out using this was my daisy punch, and I thought it turned out okay, but I did have flaws in this one that I'm hoping to correct in the next one. So let me show you the supplies that we're going to be using. I'm going to bring out the heavyweights first, and that is going to be, we're going to need tear and tape. This is my mechanism, and I got everything broke down for you. Also on my PDF I'll have a diagram of all of this to make it really easy for you. We're going to have some Night of Navy ink. My two stamp sets that I'm using is framed florets, and I think I'm going to use this. I'm not sure for sure yet, but I'm thinking I'm going to use this and Covered in Sunshine. And this this sentiment right here: may the road ahead of you be brighter than the one behind, lined with wildflowers and covered in sunshine. I love that. It works perfect with this card with the flowers inside. Those are my stamps. Let me show you the dies we're going to use. Now it looks like I'm using a lot, and really it is, but it's not. This flower die in Around the Bend, we're going to use that and the leaves. And then in the Dainty Delights, we're going to use that little flower right there. And in the Scalloped Contours, we're going to be using this next to the largest scallop die. Those are our dies. And then my paper, my inspiration for this card came from, believe it or not, By the Bay. Now who would think that By the Bay paper would make a backdrop for a beautiful floral card? But you're going to see how that works. Okay, I'm going to lay all this over to the side, and I'm going to bring out my pieces that I plan on using. And I've got everything kind of pre-cut, but I didn't do it all because I wanted to bring everything to you. Now this is our mechanism. This is going to be our vase, and this is going to be our little pull that's going to make it all work, and this is what's called a stopper. So those are my three pieces for my mechanism and my vase. The card base itself is Night of Navy. This is a half a sheet of 8.5 by 11, so it measures 8.5 by 5.5, and we're going to score this together at 4 1/4, and we'll do that in just a minute. I have some mats that we're going to cut. This one, we're going to use that scallop die, and we're going to die cut the center of it, and then we're going to use that as our next border die, which is this is going to go over it like so. And then we're going to use that piece to go on top of here, the gold scallop, and I'll show you how we're going to finish that off. This is going to be our inside mat, and in here I have all of my pieces that I die cut, and they are my flowers, and we'll get to those when we start to decorate with the flowers. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and score this. So I'm just going to bring my trimmer up. Y'all know I love to use my trimmer. The scoring mechanism on my trimmer works perfect for me. So I'm going to line this up at 4 1/4, 4 1/4. Get the cut blade out of my way. Bring down my score blade. That's the light gray one. And give this a good press. And that gives me a nice, even, perfect fold every time. So we've got that done. The other thing we need to score is our mechanism. Now this is going to be scored at 1 inch on each side. So we're going to bring this to 1 inch right here on this side, and we're going to give that a score. Now, designer series paper, I wouldn't press as hard. I'm going to turn it around and do the same thing on the other side. You can do it at 1 and 4. It's the same thing, and I believe that's what my directions will say. But you can turn it around because it's just an inch on each side and score it like that. Now, the next score marks we're going to make are going to be, and I'm going to turn it around this way because I want to be able to see my line right there. So this one's going to be at 3/4. So I'm going to line that up at 3/4, and I'm going to bring that score blade to the 1 inch mark because I know that cross score is at 1 inch. So I'm going to line that up just like that, and I'm going to score up. And then I'm going to move it over to 3/4 on this side, line it up, get that score blade down to that 1 inch mark, and push up just like that. Now we're just going to turn this over and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So 3/4, find that score mark, bring it down to 1 inch. You see 1 inch right here. Oops, I moved it. Okay, sink my blade at that 1 inch mark and score up. And then we're going to move it over on this side at 3/4. Or if you were doing it on a regular scoreboard, you just go to 1 1/2. So, and we're going to come down to the 1 inch mark, press, and score up. And that is all the scoring we need to do on this piece. I would go ahead and press everything forward and back. I just like to do it in both directions to make sure I'm getting everything. So that's going to be your actual pot that our flowers are going to go in. On our mechanism, this piece is, let me make sure I'm giving you the right measurements, 3/4, no, wait a minute, this piece is 3/4 of an inch this way, 3 7/8 this way, and we scored it at 3/8. So if you line it up, 3/8 is the same as 1 centimeter. So if you wanted to take it to the 1 and just give that a little score, that's all you're doing on this one. So there is this piece scored and ready to go. So our mechanism pieces is 3 pieces: your stopper, your mechanism, and your vase. So we got those all done right there. All right, the next thing we're going to need to do is go ahead and die cut our gold piece. So I'm going to grab my scallop. You would think I wouldn't have this cough anymore, but I still do. I'm going to grab out of my scallop contours. Sorry. I'm going to grab the next to the largest, and that's this one right here. And this is what we're going to die cut on this piece. So what I want to do is I want to center this up as best I can. And I'm not going to measure and do all of that. I am just going to simply bring it on here, give it a good eyeball as to what is centered. And then I'm going to use a couple of my little flags, my post-it flags, just to kind of hold that down while I run it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Now I am going to have to bring up the big one for this because the little one will not accommodate that die. So I'm going to grab my plates and I'm going to lay this on, and I'm going to angle it just a little bit. I don't know if you can see, but I have it angled just a tiny bit. Anytime you're working with anything that has a flat edge, it pays to angle it. It makes it much easier on your machine and on you when pushing it through. It goes through, I mean, just beautifully. So once I get that all the way through, I'm going to take it out. And I think we can put this up right this minute anyway. And now we're going to take this off, and I like to tear these off very gently. And there we go. And look at that beautiful stitch piece that we have on the inside. Now hang on to this because we're going to use that as well. So now we are ready. Let's put our plates up. we are ready to take this piece and adhere it onto our Night of Navy card base. So I am going to turn this over. I'm going to use a silicone craft sheet, and I'm going to take some liquid glue, and I'm going to run liquid glue, just a bead of liquid glue, all the way around this piece. Now, anytime you're using gold foil, be extremely careful, because foil does not like glue, glue does not like foil. They just do not get along. Let me use a bone folder and see if I can get this. I should have done that before I put glue on this, but oh well. Alright, we got that done. So now I'm going to take this and I want to sit it down about like that. And then give it a good press. And you'll see why I cut out. Anytime I'm using gold foil, I don't like to waste all that foil in the middle. So I like to do this. Now we're going to take this piece, and this is going to adhere right on top of that. For this one, I'm going to use Stampin' Seal. Now, I do go back and forth between liquid glue and Stampin' Seal, and I'll tell you why I do that. There is a time and place for all adhesives, and when I'm gluing something to gold foil, I prefer my Stampin' Seal. Now, I did use liquid glue on the foil itself because I just wanted to make sure I had something that's going to really hold that. And I think my liquid glue, a lot of times, as strong as this stuff is, I think liquid glue is stronger. So I love using my liquid glue. Alright, so I got this piece ready to go. So I'm going to lay it down nice and even. Let's go this way again. I seem like I can do a better job lining it up when I go from the side and line up my top and sides here. And that looks really pretty. That's pretty already, isn't it? But we're going to use this piece, and I want to come in and I want to cut out this middle. And I want to explain to you why I want to do that. When we put this on, I want a blue piece to be in the middle of this. And I'm actually thinking maybe I want to leave that. I don't know. We're going to try cutting it out. So I'm going to line this up right about a ½ an inch. No, maybe 3/8. Let's go 3/8. And I'm going to bring my score blade out of the way, and I'm going to bring my cut blade, and I want to line that up where I can cut. Alright, we're going to start it at 4. I'm going to sink my blade in, and I'm going to cut up. To about there. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to line it up at the 3/4 or 3/8, I'm sorry. And I'm going to sink my blade, and I'm going to cut down. And then I'm going to turn it, line it up at the 3/8 again, and I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to cut up, and then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to line it up at that 3/8 again, and I'm going to put my blade down, and I'm going to come down. And let's see if we cut it out. Okay, if you see that you got little places that's not quite cut, that's not a problem. Come in with your snips and just snip it. just like that. So then what you're going to want to do is you're going to need a piece of the Balmy Blue, and I did not cut this piece, so we're going to cut this together, and I'm going to measure what I want this piece to be, and I believe it's going to be about 3 7/8 by 2 5/8. Okay, 3 7/8. So there's 3 7/8 right there. By 4 5/8. 4, no, did I say 4 or 3? Let's redo that. I think it's 4. No, 3 7/8. Okay, 3 7/8. So that is right. You know, I think I cut this wrong. Okay, I did, but that not a problem. This one needs to be 2 5/8. Okay, so 2 5/8 would be right there. I knew that was too wide when I cut it. Okay, by 3 7/8. I knew it didn't look right when I cut it. you know how that is when you cut a piece and you say, oh, wait a minute, I know that's not right. Well, that's exactly what I felt when I did that. So now that piece is going to sit in there perfectly, and you're still going to get that stitching around it, and that's what I was looking for. So this is done, and we have our inside mat. So let's do some stamping. I definitely want to do some stamping. So the first thing I'm going to do, we have this all in here. Let's go ahead and bring our Stamparatus out. And the reason for that, I didn't have a really good, I didn't have real good luck with stamping this particular stamp because it is a larger stamp. Anytime you're coming in with a large stamp, it pays to bring out a stamp positioning tool. Now it is a photopolymer, so I'm going to take this mat out. I don't need it. I'm going to put my piece of paper in right about there, and I'm going to anchor it with my magnet. I'm going to look into my Covered in Sunshine stamp set, and we're going to get this one right here. And we're going to put this right about there. I want to leave enough room down here to be able to sign my card, so that's why I'm going up higher into the top of the card. So I'm going to pick that up. Let's go ahead and put this back where it belongs. And we are going to ink this up using our Night of Navy. So here's my Night of Navy. And I got my stamp mounted. So let's go ahead and ink this stamp up. And the beauty of this is if we don't get a good impression the first time, we can always go back, and I'm going to do it one more time just for good measure. And look how beautiful and bright that is. That's what I was looking for. Alright, so to clean my stamp while it's still on the Stamparatus, I am going to grab my Stampin' Mist. This is our Stampin' Mist, and I'm going to spray. I'm going to hold my hand there so I don't get it on my card. Spray that off, and I'm going to grab my cleaning cloth, and I'm just going to give this a good rub right here on my Stamparatus. Wipe off the excess off of there. And that stamp is clean and ready to go. Let's take out our piece that we stamped. And this can go back right here. And this this back here. I try my best to put stuff back as I use it. It's not always easy when you're doing a video because you don't want to take the time to do all of that while, you know, people are waiting, but I do try my best to do that whenever possible. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is bring our card back over, and we are going to go ahead and adhere this. Now, the reason it's important to go ahead and adhere this down before you do your mechanism is going to stick to this card right here. So I'm going to use liquid glue on this. So I'm just going to take and put liquid glue all the way around. Just like that. And then I'm going to line this up nice and straight and give it a press just like that. And now we are ready to do our mechanism. Now this is the fun part. Now we are not going to use any liquid glue on the mechanism or the vase. The reason for that, you don't want any oozing. Oozing is not good. So I'm going to bring over my mechanism. Now we need to do a little trimming on this piece. Now it doesn't matter which piece is where. Let me show you on my diagram. What did I do with it? I had it just a minute ago. Here we go. Here is my little diagram, and I would suggest to cut one of these in just plain cardstock or copy paper, because you're going to want to know that you've got this where you need it. And so this piece is going to become this. So can you see what we're going to do? We're going to cut the middle piece out of one side and the two sides out of the other side. So very simple to do. Just take your paper snips, and we are going to snip up to that score line, and the same thing here, up to the score line. And then I'm going to fold back the two side pieces, and I'm going to bring this one forward. And you'll be able to tell if you've got them snipped just right. So, just like that. So what we're going to do on this one, we're going to cut this piece out. So I'm going to fold the two back and leave this one exposed. And then I'm just going to come in with my paper snips and snip that off. Just like that. Nice. Now on this one, we're gonna snip out the middle one and leave the two on the end. So very simple. Just go in. Make sure you're cutting the score line away, which means you're going to cut on the side of the score line that will allow you to take this all out. So I'm going to snip here. And now this one, we're going to fold this piece under because we want to get rid of these two flaps. So trim those out. And then this one. And there's your mechanism. Now this is the underside. This is your back side because this is the side we want to show. So we are going to put adhesive. Let me show you. I did put on my little diagram where we put the tape at. So the tape goes on the right side on this one, here and here, but on the other side it goes here. So we're going to do it first. We're going to put some tearing tape on this piece. I'm going to grab my little block because I like to use this to tear it. So we're going to put tearing tape right across here. And I believe it will accommodate 3 pieces of the tearing tape. Now if you have wider tape, by all means you can use what you have, but I would suggest a dry adhesive on these. And the tear and tape is really good, strong dry adhesive. Now we're going to turn it over, and on this side, the right side, on these two tabs, we're going to put tear and tape. So I'm going to go right to the edge. And tear it. Right to the edge. And tear it. And then right down the middle. And tear it. And we'll do the same thing here. Alright, so that's all done. The other place that we need to put tear and tape is on this piece right here. So we need a piece of tear and tape that will go right across there. So I'm going to go ahead and, what I want to do is get all of our tear and tape on so that when we start putting this together, we can just go blip bam boom and have it ready. So I'm going to put a piece of tear and tape across there. And then on our stopper, we're going to need a piece of tear and tape at the top and the bottom. Nothing in the middle. So I'm going to come across the top, one little piece, and on this one, one little piece, and all of our taping is done. So I'm going to move my mechanism pieces back over here, and we are ready to get this show on the road. Okay, what you have to remember is when you are putting this down, you want to make sure that your pieces are lining up perfectly. So this piece is going to go here just like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to release the tape on this underside of this mechanism. This is your back side, this is the wrong side, and this is the right side. So where you put that tape on the wrong side, that's where we're going to go ahead and lift those up. So I'm going to grab my take your pick tool. It just helps me to lift up those backers and get those off of there, just like that. Alright, so now we're going to take our mechanism with the tape side up, and we're going to lay this on this piece, butting it right up to the score line but not going over it. So you want this piece to be able to go back and forth just like that. Now if you notice that you've got a little overhang, go in and snip that off. No biggie. And just get that out of there. And that looks really good. That's exactly what we want. And we want to make sure that lines up right there in the middle. So I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to give that a good crease right there. I know now this is going to come through like that. These pieces are going to go back like this. So what we're going to do is we are going to fold that like this. Bring your card over and you want to line this up. Now make sure that your base has a clearing here. So I would bring it up maybe about 3/8 of an inch to maybe a 1/4 inch. You just don't want it hanging down, or you don't want it up too high. So kind of gauge where it's hitting at. Lay this down right to your score line. You want that score line to be right there. And this is where we're going to lift this tape. So take the backer off of that mechanism. Make sure everything's nice and straight. That's crucial. And we're just going to fold our card over like that. Give that a good burnish. And there is our mechanism. Now once you open your card back up, take your bone folder and really crease that down good. Turn it back this way and crease it again. This is going to assure that your pot is going to be very secure right there, because this is where everything's pulling against. So now what we need to do is we need to close our card up as we fold this shut. This is where you need your adhesives to adhere. So what you want to do, and I find the best thing to do, is take my adhesives off with this piece laying over here like this. And here. Just like that. You want to straighten that up, make sure everything's nice and straight, and your mechanism can pull through there easily. And then we are just going to fold this over onto that, and let's give it a test run. Perfect. That was so easy to do it. By doing it like that, we get it perfect every time. So what you want to do at this point is you do want to go back in with this closed, and I like to take the bone folder and just rub really well right there where those adhesives went down. So now we have that part of our card done. We're ready to put flowers in our pot. I love this flower pot. I think it's so pretty. The paper that I use, I love it. I think it's gorgeous. Alright, so what we're going to do now, let's go ahead and adhere this to the front. And then this is going to go right inside of that piece like that. But we're going to go ahead and adhere this first, and we're going to do this using our liquid glue. And I'm going to do the same thing I did when I did my gold piece down. I'm just going to run a thin line of glue like that. And let's put this down something like that. I'm going to give it a press. Alright, now we're ready to go ahead and adhere this piece in. For this, I'm going to use some tear and tape. So, not tear and tape, I'm sorry, a Stampin' Seal. Lost my head. And I'm going to do this one across like this, like that, and like that. Now, I was going to stamp on this, but I think I'm going to put something else in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and set this in. And there we go. We've got that done. We've got our flower pot. Now I'm going to save the outside for a minute because I haven't really fully decided what I want to do on the front. I knew I wanted this. I knew that I wanted this inside, and I knew I wanted my flower pot like this. So let's go ahead and grab our flowers. This is the fun part. We're going to decorate. And y'all know I love, you know, I forgot to put my stopper in. It's, you know, I think we can probably still get it in. I totally forgot this piece. This piece should have been put down prior to gluing down that last piece. and I totally forgot. But I'm going to go ahead and stick it in now because that just helps anchor your pot. So let's see, we need to bring this piece right across there. So where this is going to go, where your two pieces came down, we're going to put it right across here. And this will help anchor that piece right there. Okay, and if you look down in there, you can see I just put it where it's over top of that mechanism. That just helps this hold where it doesn't flap, it doesn't lift up. So that's the purpose of that. I'm sorry, I totally forgot that. But anyway, you can see it just goes in right there, and you can wait and do it afterwards just like I did. It's totally up to you. All right, so now our flowers. Let me go ahead and get all of my beautiful flowers out. And look at all that beauty. One other little piece. Oops. I dropped one of my little centers. Move, Bella. Move, baby. Move. Okay, here we go. And we might have to cut a few more pieces. I'm just not sure yet. What I want to do is I want to get some of these bigger flowers in first. So those are my large ones. Get those down there where you can see them. And my large ones are going to have these big dots in the middle. I think I have 3 of these. Yeah, I do. I tried to die cut all of this prior to the video so that I would have everything together. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to go ahead and glue these in. And for this, I'm going to use liquid glue. I'm going to need my Take Your Pick tool. And I need the putty end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue right here in the middle. And then I'm going to pick up the center. And I'm doing it like this so that I can get it centered just where I want it. That one's working. And now we'll put some glue in the middle of this one and this one. And let's grab that center and stick it down right there. And this one right here. Now I want to put some stems on these flowers. So I cut like a 1/16 of an inch of Granny Apple Green. I thought that would look very pretty and bright in there. So I'm going to take glue and put on the back of this just a tiny bit. And I'm going to set that stem into the glue. So we have a flower. I'm going to do the same thing for the next one. A little glue and a little stem. And then for the last one, I think it works better for me to put it on the flower itself. Just feels like it gives me a little bit more control. And there is that one. All right, I'm gonna work the big flowers first because we're gonna glue these down. And I think I'm gonna put a white one maybe right there, and maybe a pink one right there, and a yellow one right there. I like the way that looks. So let's go ahead, and all I'm going to do to put these down is I'm going to put glue on my piece, on my card, and then set the flower into the glue. Just like that. here. And then this one, it's going to go right up here. What you want to be careful with when you're putting these down is that it doesn't go off of your card. See, and that's working perfect. We're not showing any flowers hanging over. Now the stems we're not going to worry about because we can just whack those off just like that. Alright, so now we have all of these little flowers. Let me show you how I plan on putting these together. I want a white and a dark. I'm going to use some mini glue dots to put these together with. And so what I want to do is I do need my pick side of this. I'm going to lift up a mini glue dot like that, and I'm going to stick it right in the middle of that white daisy. Lift the backer off, and then I'm going to take this one and I want to offset it. I want the petals to go kind of in the middle. Oops, that didn't work very well. Let's try that again. Something like that. And then I want to put it on a stem. I think we're going to need some little dots to go in the middle there. And I might just grab a hole punch. I think this is not a Stampin' Up! Product, but this will get me my little dot that I need. So I'm going to grab my brown, and I am just going to pop out. Let's see if that one will work. If that'll work, then we're good. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Alright, so I still didn't get this quite like I wanted it. I wanted it to be more like that. That'll work. I'm going to put some glue right in the middle. And I'm going to pick up that little circle that we cut and put it down right there. And now we're ready to put this one. This time I'm going to put the glue on the stem and bring the flower here, and that one's ready to go in. So we can pop this one like right here. That looks cute. Let's do a pink and white one. So again, a mini Stampin' Dimensional right in the middle. Take the backer off. Let's pick up our pink flower and let's try our best to get that . I think I'd do it better if I pick it up with my fingers, and I really don't think that there's a perfect way to do this. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to punch another little middle for that flower. When you punch those, you're going to need, and you could use any type of hole punch to do that with. And I'm going to bring some glue. Set that in. A little bit of glue on my stem. And then we got another flower right here. Loving it. Now we got some leaves too, so I want to make sure that I can get some of these leaves in there because they are just too pretty not to use. So I think for this one I'm going to bring leaves up underneath there. So to do that, I'm just going to put some glue right there. And then I'm going to slide these leaves up underneath. I'm going to give that a minute to dry. So this time I think I'm going to try doing it with just glue. So I'm going to put glue right here. Pick up my yellow flower and set it right down. Oh yeah, that works much better. Now I wish I'd have done the other ones like that, rather than using the glue dot, the dimensional. Let's see if we can rectify that. Oh yeah, we can get rid of that glue dot just like that. And let's put some glue right there in the middle. I thought it would be cute with the with it popping up a little bit, but I really like it better, I think, without it. Okay, and that one's ready to go down. I think I want this one on the vase right there. So I'm going to put glue all the way down the front of that stem, and I'm going to bring it right to there, and I'm going to bring my fingers up underneath there, and I'm going to hold it just for a minute to make sure that that adhered. And I do not want to close this card down until I know that I've gotten all of my flowers and the glue has dried. So this one I think is going to go down right there. So for this one I'm just going to put, I want this one right here, so I'm going to put glue right there like I did with the big ones, and I'll bring this down and set that right into that glue. Okay, now let's see if we can get a little bit of greenery right there. So I'm just going to put glue on the back of this and sit that down right there. Then I'm going to do another one over here. Maybe right there. I'm going to put glue right here and set that flower, that leaf into it. And then I will come back underneath this one and put some glue down and re-adhere it. That's good. That's looking pretty. Alright, so now let's do a blue one. Now let's do this yellow one. This one's so pretty. I'm going to take glue and run it down my stem. I'm going to put my flower right here, and I need a leaf. And I need to adhere this right about there. So see what I'm doing? I'm holding it underneath, making sure the glue attaches. And I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the leaf right here and make sure that attaches to that pot or vase. So pretty. Alright, now we need the blue one. So again, a little dot of glue. Pick this up. Set it in. We need two middles. We need one for the yellow one and one for the blue one. So I'm going to punch 1, 2, flatten those out, and you can use any hole punch you have for this. It doesn't have to be that particular one. I chose that one because it has a multitude of sizes, all the way from 5/16 down to 1/8. or no, 1/16. So it really gives you a wide variety of holes that you can punch. So there's that one, and I'm going to put him on this one. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue up here at the top and adhere my flower to it. And then this one is going to go down a little bit further, like right about there. So again, I want to put enough of glue that's going to adhere to our vase. And you really want to be sure that you're getting the right amount of glue in there that's going to give you that beautiful little bouquet of flowers. Now, I forgot to put it on this one, so I'm going to hold my finger behind this little flower right here, and I'm going to put glue right there. I'm going to grab my take your pick, and I'm going to pick up that other little circle to make sure it's nice and flat. And I'm going to hold my flower and bring that to it. Give it a good press, and there we go. Everything closes down, and then everything pops up when you open it. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And it folds nice and flat, so this will go into an envelope without causing a lot of bulk. Love, love, love the way this card has turned out. Gorgeous. We still have this flower that we have not used, so I'm going to go ahead and put it together because I have an idea. And I'm going to do one more of my little punches. Put a little glue on the middle of that, just like we've been doing, and then set our middle in. And now I need to decide exactly how I want to frame up or do my sentiment or whatever I need to do to the outside. So I've got these little stems right here that I cut off of the longer flowers. These might be really cute to put one right there. See if this will work. Maybe a little bit wider. This piece will work. Might work. No, gotta go this way. Not a problem. I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut this off like so. And I'm going to get my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I think my little one will work for this. I might have to cut this down again. Let's cut it off right here. Yep, and this will fit on here. Y'all know I love to use this when I can, because I can actually bring it up and you can see what I'm doing, and that's always important. So I'm going to try to angle that just a tiny bit. There we go. And let's see. Oh, so pretty. Oh, I've just dropped everything I've touched. It's one of those days. My grandma used to say, "Oh, I've got the dropsy," and I never knew what she meant. I do now. Oh yeah, look at that. That is so. Oh, this is the right side. That is so pretty. Look how gorgeous that is. And then we can set this little flower like right here in the corner. And we'll snip that off. We can stamp our sentiment on here. So let's look at our little framed florets for a special person on a special day. And then we can do happy birthday underneath it. And I'm going to do this in Night of Navy. Alright, so now we're going to take this one for a special friend on a special day. And let's ink that up. And then we can put our little flower with our little stem right there. So I'm going to put a dab of glue set my stem into the glue. And y'all, I got sticky fingers. You would not believe how sticky my fingers are. Oh, maybe you would. You're a crafter, you know. And I want this to go down. Actually, you know what? I think I want to pop that up. So I'm going to get a regular dimensional. Just like that, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to angle that off like that. I love it, I love it, I love it. Look, let me cover up this ink before I make myself a mess. And now we can put this down, and I think I'm going to pop this up. I think I'm going to pop it up on dimensionals. So let's grab my dimensionals. I'm going to put one there, one there, one right there, one here, there, and there. I think that's good. Let's get our backers off of them. And let's go ahead and put this down right in the center, just like that. Isn't that gorgeous? But the beauty is when you open it and there's a whole bouquet of flowers. That is stunning. I love it. I'm so happy with the way it turned out. I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial, which wasn't such a little tutorial, but nevertheless, I hope that I made this where you can say, oh, I can do that. I can do that. Because that's my main purpose in teaching. I want you to be able to recreate what I make, and I hope that I've made this card easy for you so that it will come together beautifully first time every time. Let me zoom in just a little bit. Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. Look at that. I love it. I hope you do. Have a blessed day. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Savior Jesus. He is worthy of our praise. And I love you guys so much. If you are interested in making this card, and if you need any of the supplies that I use, there'll be a link on my blog and in the description below this video, and that will take you to my blog. You can print out the free PDF tutorial, and all the dimensions along with the diagram for making this mechanism will all be there for your convenience. God bless and keep you, and until we craft again, I love you guys so much. Bye-bye.